Everyone, good morning and welcome to Victory Fellowship Church. We are having Bible study. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Bible study. Grab your Bibles and get ready to study. Leviticus? No, where are we?
Numbers.
We're in Numbers.
Numbers 3.
Numbers 3. Now, I'll tell you right up front, if we get a whole lot of random numbers that were very meaningful back then, but aren't as meaningful now, we will skip over them for you. We'll try not to miss any important stories per se, but numbers just for numbers' sake is something that we don't really need to be too concerned about. So, we are in Numbers, and do we have a chapter? 3. And we're in Numbers chapter 3, and we're starting with the sons of Aaron. Aaron was a priest. This was a minister. And the way the Lord did it back then is he had families, priests. A whole family was a family of priests. And they were the sons of Aaron, the original first priest who was with Moses at the very beginning of their deliverance. Now these are the records of Aaron and Moses when the Lord spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn; Abihu, Eleazar, Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed priests, whom he consecrated to minister as priests. The Lord made them worthy of ministering. Let's not forget that part. You know, we're in a day today, Candy, where if you wanted to marry people and you have $50, you can get online and be ordained. But would it be the Lord that's ordaining you? And that's the part that I think a lot of people miss. They think, well, I want to be a pastor. I want to be an elder. I want to be a deacon. Well, the reality of those situations is that if we're doing it God's way, we are recognizing people that he has made pastors, that he has made deacons, and he himself ordains them. We've heard the word ordain, and some people in smaller home group type churches, people will ask them, well, is your pastor ordained? And they will say something like, yes, he sent away to the universal church and they ordained him. Well, a man cannot ordain. Only God can ordain. He consecrated the sons of Aaron to minister as priests. All right. Now, Nadab and Abihu had died before the Lord when they offered profane fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar ministered as, well, that's interesting. Well, yeah. Okay, for some reason. Oh, did you just share that? Oh, it shared it on my screen too. Anyway, so what happened here? Well, in case you missed this episode or this teaching that we had, wasn't too long ago, 2 of the authorized priests, they were the sons of Aaron. They decided they were going to go light the fire of God, but they weren't doing it God's way. They were going to do it their way, and they died because of it. It was considered profane fire, and they lost their lives doing that. All right, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may serve him. Okay, now what do we have? We have a whole tribe of people serving the priests. Anybody got any ideas why the priests needed somebody to help serve them?
Well, they had a lot of work to do.
What kind of work did they have to do, Lynn?
Slaughtering a lot of animals,
They
for
were
one thing.
I knew you would know the answer to that question. That's right. There were a lot of animal sacrifices, and I'm telling you, I'm glad we don't have them today. I have a hard time lifting up the offering basket, taking it into the office, which I don't do normally. But I'm kidding, of course. But imagine that if you all brought a cow or a bull or even a goat, over to church and say, okay, here you go, Pastor Dave, go ahead and slaughter it. I'd say, hey, I got people to do that. I'd say, Rick, Rick. And he'd be hiding out in the garage working on the lawnmower. Rick would say, Ricky, not here. Just kidding. But so they did a lot of work. They did physical hard work. And Pastor Isidro Morales is back home. Well done, good and faithful servant, for your ministry trip to Mexico. We were excited to see the salvations and the work that you have started and have watered and promoted bear fruit. Praise God for you and your family and for your church. All right, so praise God for Pastor Pepe. We will hear of his trip someday soon. All right, let's see. The Lord brought the tribe of Levi and presented them before Aaron. So that would be like somebody saying, okay, Dave, you've got Lynn here and you've got Rick here. They both have different types of ministries, but they both serve. And I'm presenting them to help you with what I want you to do. And that's indeed the truth. And the same thing with Candy here. She's been presented to help do what we need to do. Before we came on the air, I took notice of our fellowship room, and this is 4th of July, and there's little flags on the table, and it really looks cool. And our tablecloths are red, white, and blue. Very good. That's why I wore a blue shirt today. Right. Rick wore a blue shirt too. So did Lynn. We're all wearing blue today. All right.
This is kind of a blue day.
So, they shall attend to his needs and the needs of the congregation before the tabernacle of meeting to do the work of the tabernacle. They shall attend to all the furnishings of the tabernacle of meeting and to the needs of the children of Israel to do the work of the tabernacle. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are given entirely to him from among the children of Israel. So you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall attend to their priesthood. But the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. There is a distinction. Did you see what I just read? It's exactly what I had said. God gave the helpers to the priests, but he also said, you shall appoint them. You shall appoint them. So there is an appointing that takes place, and we have appointed both Lynn and Rick as deacons. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, now behold, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens the womb among the children of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall be mine. So God receives the firstborn of every family, and but in this case, among the children of the Levites, the firstborn is dedicated to the service of the Lord. Because all the firstborn are mine, there he says it. On the day that I struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified myself, to myself, all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. They shall be mine. I am the Lord. So what does that mean exactly? Well, if you remember the Passover, what happened is, as the Lord was delivering Israel from the Egyptians, where they were slaves, the last day, the Lord said, look, put the blood of the lamb on your doorpost so that I can pass you over Otherwise, I am going to take the life of every firstborn man and beast. And the Lord is referring to that. He's saying, look, those are mine anyway. I'm taking them. So that's basically what he's saying there. On the day I struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified to myself. They became his. Both man and beast, the firstborn, they'll be mine. I'm the Lord. Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness, saying, number the children of Levi by their fathers' houses. By their families you shall number every male from a month old and above. And so Moses numbered them according to the word of the Lord, as he was commanded. These were the sons of Levi by their names. And they listed all the names of the sons of Levi. Those who were numbered were 7,500. And then there were the Gershonites. And there were the different amounts of them as well. So we're going to skip over those numbers. And there were the family of Kohath. And it gives a little bit of what the various duties were. They were keeping charge of the sanctuary. One group was. Another one was the ark, the table, the lamp, the altars, the utensils, the screen. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron, was over the leaders of the Levites. And Merari, according to the number of all the males from a month old and above were 6,200. And so it just continues. But you get an idea of these numbers. There were thousands and thousands of Hebrews out there in the wilderness who were saved out of the nation of Egypt. Then the Lord said to Moses, number all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above. Take the number of their names. And you'll take the Levites for me, I'm the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel. All right, so Moses numbered all the firstborn, and there were a month old and above. The firstborn males were 22,273. And then he said, take the livestock, and those are mine. And for redemption of the 273 of the firstborn were more than the number of the Levites. You shall take 5 shekels for each one individually, and you shall take them in the currency of the shekel of the sanctuary. And you'll give the money, which the excess number of them is redeemed, to Aaron and his sons. So Moses took the redemption money from those who were over and above, those who were redeemed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the children of Israel, he took the money, 1,365 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. And Moses gave their redemption money to Aaron and his sons, according to the word of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. So God said, look, I already owned the firstborn. But yet he did not use the firstborn per se. Instead, they paid their, redemption money. And that went to the Levites. Is that what it? Yeah. Who were redeemed by the Levites. Okay. Went to Aaron and his sons. Chapter 4. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, take a census of the sons of Kohath. Okay, this is another family. And from 30 years old and above, so these are all the ministering age, who enter the service to do the work in the tabernacle of meeting. This is their work. They'll prepare the tent for a journey, and they'll take down the covering, and they'll cover the ark with it. They'll put on it a covering of badger skins, spread over that a cloth of blue. They'll insert its poles. On the table, they'll spread a blue cloth, put on its dishes, pans, and bowls. and spread over a scarlet cloth. Must have been 4th of July then too. And so basically they did the packing up before the tent and the house of God would be moved. Over the golden altar, they'll spread a blue cloth and cover it with badger skins. And they'll insert the poles. See, the poles just made things, moving things, a lot easier because you had handles you could hold on to. All right, they'll put on all the implements. When Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary and all the furnishings, when the camp is set to go, then the sons of Kohath shall come to carry them, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These are the things in the tabernacle of meeting, which the sons of Kohath are to carry. All right, the appointed duty of Eleazar is the oil for the light, the sweet incense, the daily grain offering, the anointing oil, oversight of all the tabernacle, of all that's in it, with the sanctuary and its furnishings. Isn't that great how God used all of the people in a team-like manner? Each one had their area of responsibility, and it made things work out very nicely. So if you get asked, how can you help with, let's say, the picnic, pick something that you enjoy doing. You could be a pack up, a clean up, a setup person, be one of the, if you're early to rise, you might want to come down and help get all the games set up and run a game if you like kids. So there's things that we can do. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, do not cut off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but do this in regard to them, that they may live and not die when they approach the most holy things. Aaron and his sons shall go in and appoint each of them to his service and his task, but they shall not go in to watch while the holy things are being covered, lest they die. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take a census of the sons of Gershon, by their father's house, by their families, from 30 years old and above, even to 50. Number them, all who enter to perform the service. Back then, the typical age for service was starting at 30 and retiring at 50. This is the service of the family of the Gershonites. They'll carry the curtains and the tabernacle of meeting, its coverings, badger skins, the screen for the door of the tabernacle of meeting, the screen for the door of the gate of the court, the hangings of the court which are around the tabernacle, their cords and all the furnishings for their service and all that is made for these things. Aaron and his sons shall assign all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, all their tasks and all their service, and you'll appoint them to all their tasks as their duty. This is the service of the family of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of meeting. And their duties shall be under the authority of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, you shall number them by their families. And this is what they must carry as service for the tabernacle. The boards of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, and the pillars around the court with their sockets, pegs, and cords, with all their furnishings and all their service. And you shall assign to each man by the name, by the items he must carry. This is the service of the family, of the sons of Merari and all their service for the tabernacle of meeting. And Moses, Aaron, and the leaders of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites by their families and by their father's house, from 30 years old even to 50, everyone who entered for service to the Lord. Those who were numbered were 2,750. All right, those who were numbered of Gershon were 2,630. Those who were numbered by the families of the sons of Gershon, let's see here, 3,200. So, lots of people. And according to the commandment of the Lord, they were numbered by the hand of Moses, each according to the service and according to his task. They were numbered by him as the Lord commanded Moses to do. Chapter 5, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper, everyone who has a discharge, and everyone who becomes defiled by a corpse. Now, these are commands that he had already given. You shall put out both male and female. Put them outside the camp, that they may not defile their camps in the midst of which I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, and they put them outside the camp, as the Lord spoke to Moses, so the children of Israel did. And then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, when a man or woman commits any sin that men commit in unfaithfulness against the Lord, and that person is guilty, then he shall confess the sin which he has committed. He shall make restitution for his trespass in full, plus 1/5 of it, and give it to the one he has wronged. So if you stole something from your neighbor, and let's say it was 5 sheep, well, according to the Bible, you have to go and confess that to your neighbor and add 1/5, which would be what? An additional sheep.
Right?
So you'd have to give him 6 sheep. So you wouldn't make out, you would lose anytime you stole anything from your neighbor. All right. But if a man has no relative to whom restitution may be made for the wrong, so your neighbor dies and you get convicted, but your neighbor's dead, so there's no one to follow after him that you can restore, then you must go to the Lord for the priest, and in addition to the ram of atonement, every offering of holy things of the children of Israel which they bring to the priest shall be his. And every man's holy things shall be his. Whatever any man gives the priest shall be his. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, say to them, if any man's wife goes astray and behaves unfaithfully toward him, and a man lies with her carnally, and it is hidden from the eyes of her husband, and it is concealed that she has defiled herself, and there was no witness against her, nor was she caught. Wow. If the spirit of jealousy comes on him, and he becomes jealous of his wife, who has defiled herself, or if the spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife, although she has not defiled herself, then the man shall bring his wife to the priest. So basically, here's a guy bringing his wife to the priest saying, she committed adultery. And she will either say, yes, I did. But in this case, the wife is saying, no, I did not. Both the one who did do it and the one who did not do it, they both say, I did not. And he'll bring an offering required for her, 1/10 of an ephah of barley meal, and he'll pour no oil on it, put no frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, an offering for remembering, for bringing iniquity to remembrance. In other words, they're not making this delicious or sweet to taste, because this is an offering that has to do with sin. It brings sin to your mind. And the priest shall bring her near and set her before the Lord. Can you imagine that? Your husband accuses you of committing adultery. Now, it's one of two things. Either you did do it and nobody knows, or you didn't do it and nobody can prove your innocence. But in both cases, you get brought by your husband to the priest, And you have to sit before the Lord in the presence of God. And the priest will take out holy water in an earthen vessel and take some of the dust that's on the floor of the tabernacle and put it in the water. Then the priest shall stand the woman before the Lord, uncover the woman's head, and put the offering for her remembering in her hands, which is the grain offering of jealousy. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. Excuse me. And the priest shall put her under oath and say to the woman, if no man has lain with you, and if you have not gone astray to uncleanness, while under your husband's authority, to be free from this bitter water that brings a curse. Be free from this bitter water that brings a curse. But if you have gone astray while under your husband's authority, and if you have defiled yourself, and some man other than your husband has lain with you, then the priest shall put the woman under oath of the curse, and he shall say to the woman, the Lord make you a curse and an oath among your people, when the Lord makes your thigh rot and your belly swell. And may this water that causes the curse go into your stomach and make your belly swell and your thigh rot. And the woman shall say, amen, so be it. Then the priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall scrape them off into the bitter water. And he'll make the woman drink the bitter water that brings a curse. And the water that brings the curse shall enter into her to become bitter. Then the priest shall take the grain offering of jealousy from the woman's hand and wave the offering before the Lord and bring it to the altar. And the priest shall take a handful of the offering as its memorial portion, burn it on the altar, and make the woman drink the water. When he's made her drink the water, then it shall be, if she's defiled herself and behaved unfaithfully toward her husband, that the water that brings a curse will enter her and become bitter, and her belly will swell, and her thigh will rot, and the woman will become a curse among her people. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, then she shall be free and may conceive children. This is the law of jealousy when a wife, under her husband's authority, goes astray and defiles herself. Or when the spirit of jealousy comes upon a man. See, she doesn't even have to do it. It's just the spirit of jealousy comes on the man. And he becomes jealous of his wife. Then he'll stand the woman before the Lord, and the priest will execute all this law upon her. Then the man shall be free from iniquity, but that woman shall bear her guilt. That's something. That's something. I feel bad for those ladies, especially if their husband is the jealous type and they really didn't do anything wrong. But I'll tell you what, I can't imagine a lady, being brought by her husband to the priest into the house of the Lord, made to stand before God, given the offering in one hand and the water that brings the curse in the other, and then knowing you're going to be drinking it and knowing you're being asked to, to me, that's better than a lie detector. I don't see, you'd have to be pretty brazen to lie right in the face of God and in the face of his priest. You'd be better off to say, yes, it was me, be merciful to me, than to lie. But one thing about it is they provided a way for a jealous man to get his jealousy settled. All right, so but you know what's missing here? What's missing here? What about the wife and the man? Well, that wasn't an issue apparently. All right, just kind of, we should all be pure, but it kind of, because of this ordeal, this holy ordeal for women, you kind of get the impression that a woman is really even more considered pure and holy unto God, even though we all should be pure before Him. All right, let's see. When either a man or a woman consecrates an offering to take the vow of a Nazirite, to separate himself to the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and similar drink. He shall drink neither vinegar made from wine nor vinegar made from similar drink. Neither shall he drink any grape juice or eat fresh grapes or raisins. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine, from seed to skin. In other words, if you're going to be dedicated to God, make sure that you're not a drinker, or that it doesn't even look like you're a drinker. All the days of the vow of his separation, no razor shall come upon his head, until the days are fulfilled for which he has separated himself to the Lord. He shall be holy, and he shall set the locks of the hair of his head. He shall let the locks of his head grow. All the days that he separates himself to the Lord, he'll not go near a dead body. He'll not make himself unclean, even for his father or his mother, for his brother or his sister when they die, because that would be a separation to God on his head. So if he vows to the Lord, he can't go to his mother or father and touch them after they've died, because that makes him unclean. In other words, you're putting your relationship to God above that of your father and mother, which is later reiterated in the New Testament. On the 8th day, he'll bring 2 turtle doves, 2 young pigeons to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of meeting. And the priest shall offer one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and make atonement for him because he's sinned in regard to the corpse. And he shall sanctify his head the same day. He'll consecrate to the Lord the days of his separation, and bring a male lamb in its first year as a trespass offering. But the former days shall be lost, because his separation was defiled. Now this is the law of the Nazirite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and he'll present his offering to the Lord, 1 male lamb in its first year without blemish, as a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb in its first year without blemish, as a sin offering, 1 ram without blemish, as a peace offering. A basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, unleavened wafers anointed with oil, their grain offering with their drink offerings. Then the priest shall bring them before the Lord and offer his sin offering and burnt offering. And he shall offer the ram as a sacrifice of peace according to the Lord. With the basket of unleavened bread, the priest shall also offer its grain offering and its drink offering. Then the Nazirite shall shave his head and consecrate his head at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and shall take the hair from his consecrated head, and and put it on the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. And the priest shall take the boiled shoulder of the ram, 1 unleavened cake from the basket, 1 unleavened wafer, and put them upon the hands of the Nazirite after he has shaved his consecrated hair. And the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before the Lord, for they are holy for the priest, together with the breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the heave offering. After that, the Nazirite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazirite who vows to the Lord the offering for his separation. And besides that, whatever else his hand is able to provide, according to the vow which he takes, so he must do according to the law of his separation. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the way you shall bless the children of Israel, to say to them, The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I will bless them. That still is a peaceful blessing today, isn't it? The Lord shall keep you. The sun his face shall shine upon you. All right, well, this is a good place for us to stop. We will start next Sunday with Numbers 7. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great holiday, great 4th of July holiday with your family. Listen, you can't celebrate life any more than coming to church. At Victory Fellowship Church, we love you. We want to see you. We would love to have you come, be a part of what God's doing here. Just enter into his presence. It makes the big difference. Come to church. Services start at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Sunday, right here at Victory Fellowship Church. We've got a Facebook page. Search for Victory in Newaygo, and you'll find us. We'll see you then. God bless you.